Alright, we should
Go
be
live.
Alright. Facebook. Let's start talking to the camera now, Bob.
Oh, we're live.
We're live.
Hey, everybody.
It'll go through, if you know what I mean.
Will it?
It will.
I do know what you mean.
We're picking up and down.
I'm sitting on what you're stopping.
Catch my drift?
Catch what you're throwing. Got any more?
No.
I'm cooking what you're eating. All right. Hello, YouTubes. I'm Bobby Axeman Hildebrand. This is Tim Sargent. Yeah, whatever.
Hey, they already did that 19 seconds ago. Man, those guys are good.
Touche. All right, so I am freshly back from Irene. Tim is freshly back from our Echo 1 sale. It is quite an October Tuesday. We've actually got a bunch of cool stuff for you on this live show. First of which, we've got my Rebel Training Camp coming up on October 19th. You can search that by going to AirsoftGI.com, typing in Bob the Axeman or Rebel Training Camp. Tickets are going fast. In fact, there's very few left. So if you know you want to go, make sure to get on that as quickly as possible. This event is actually scheduled, or at least planned around getting the younger generation of airsofters into the game much more comfortably. Basically,
or novice players. You don't have to.
Or novice players.
Yeah.
Where it's geared to players that are under 18 or that have less than a year of airsoft playing experience. But if you have more than a year, or if you're over 18, that doesn't mean you can't come out. Feel free to come out, but just come out with the mindset of wanting to help the younger generation of airsoft players get into airsoft and learn more about it to be more effective on the battlefield.
Team Therapist comes to mind. They
Yes.
are awesome guys that have been playing for a long time, and they're really stoked to come out and help kind of like the newer generation of airsofters get into the game.
They kind of really epitomize what we're going for at this event, and that they're very open-minded. They're very I guess ingratiating towards newer airsoft players and making them feel comfortable, and that's what this game is all about. We're going to have for only, I guess, $2 or $3 more than the basic entrance to SC Village, only $2 more. You're going to get a play on their woodland/mount course. We're going to have, I guess, myself commanding one side, Jet from Desert Fox Fields commanding the other side, along with some other YouTube celebrities. And we're also going to be having a tactical gearheads competition for the best Rebel loadout. It's not high speed, low drag. It's basically the most innovative way you can carry your gear or use
speed high drag.
Low speed high. That sounds like my team. Definitely just the most innovative Rebel loadouts. And then later in the day, we are going to be having a raffle, and we're also going to be playing an SC Viper. And between that, we're also going to be holding a very short clinic just to give you some tips, tricks, and methods to improve your airsoft gameplay, and then getting right into the battle at SC Viper. So overall, it's going to be a really fun day. You should definitely come out to play either with me or Jet from Desert Fox Fields and just have a really great day at SC Village. Now, next up, we're also having a Rebel Supply Week. Do you want to let our viewers know about that, Tim?
Yeah, it's the Rebel Resupply Week. Basically, it's just a themed sale that we have going on at the LA retail store and at our online store, so you guys can get the equipment that you need to get ready for Bob's Rebel Training Camp. Now, what's going on online, since that's what's going to apply to most of you, is you can get 20% off your order using coupon code 20OFFDAILY and $8.95 flat rate shipping. So regardless of where you live or how much you order, $8.95 is how much you'll pay for ground shipping, unless of course you need expedited, then you'll have to pay for that. But ground standard shipping, $8.95 is going to come in really handy for you Alaska, Canada, Hawaii, Puerto Rico, all of you other customers that are used to paying a lot for shipping. Now is the time to jump on it and save huge on shipping costs. So you can save with the coupon on the products you're ordering, and you're going to save big on the shipping. If you live near our retail store, you can get 30% off of tactical gear, most tactical gear, batteries, BBs, and chargers, 25% off everything else, and 20% off certain things that we can't advertise here.
Good
so
Lord.
Stop by the retail store, and this is a great time to stock up. It's 30% off BBs, man. Just think about it. Just get your year supply of BBs right now, and you're going to get a huge discount off of it.
I mean, in addition to that, we're also selling BBs in bulk order packages where you get,
True.
3 bags of BBs at a time, and you save money by buying three packages at a time. So if you combine that with 20% off and the flat rate shipping, which this is the first time we've done the coupon and the shipping together, it's pretty ridiculous. So I think so.
I think it might be, or maybe at least it's the first time we're doing the 20% off with the
flat rate
shipping.
Yeah. So pretty darn awesome.
Indeed. So
Absolutely.
that's the Rebel Resupply Week. That's going on. Shoot, one of them ends on Saturday. One of them ends next Monday. And I think the online sale ends next Monday, and the Rebel Resupply Week in the store should end on Saturday. So head over to the retail store. If not, check out our online store, and you're not going to get a chance to save much bigger than this.
Absolutely. Now, I believe that's it for what we want to talk about first, correct?
So as far as announcements go, we got the Rebel Resupply Week, we got your training camp out of the way. we want to mention some of the new products that we got in, and Daniel's holding on to one of them.
Yeah.
There's a battery in there.
Oh, good
Heads up.
notice. All right.
Oh, I didn't
So, no, I specifically asked you guys to let me know when there's a battery in here. All right. So,
Save it
without
first.
further ado, this is, I believe, the RM4. Calm yourself, Tim.
No, dude, these are the. Oh, dude.
Let's
Okay.
just go to that first. Fine. Fine.
Okay,
Not the-
these are.
Don't call them the other one.
Okay. These are Echo 1 barrel extensions that, we'll just call them SF barrel extensions, but they're called the Mark 1 series barrel extension. It comes with your flash hider and the QD adapter on here. And something very similar to this was available on the market a while ago, but has since been removed. And now they are here under the Echo 1 brand name, which I am really happy to see, because these are some of my favorite barrel extensions, just for the simple fact that obviously the QD aspect of it makes it really easy to put on and off, and the flash hider is obviously really nice, and it just looks awesome.
That's where I was going.
To other barrel extensions. As you know, barrel extensions don't really do anything for your performance unless you extend your inner barrel to make it a little longer, but these look really sweet on most gun applications. So it looks like I have, this is the Mark 1 SR556, 6.75 inches long. We have different lengths. They all basically look like this. You got a 6-inch version. This is the 6 3/4 inch version, and there's a 7.5 inch version that will, suit whatever gun that you're putting it on. You can choose different lengths so that it fits the look that you're going for. But these are some of my favorite barrel extensions for Airsoft, and I'm really glad that Echo 1 is bringing these things back to the market.
Absolutely. That's fine. You don't have to. How's it different? It's just a little longer.
It has a longer. This is actually the flash hider that I have on my
The
own
reds are
floor.
all the way up here.
Interesting.
But these are really, really sweet. These are some of my favorite barrel extensions on the market.
Yeah, we used to have one of the guns back here, but I guess that is gone. So
Yeah. Well, that is pretty cool. So
Okay,
are those
talk
on the
about
website
your
already?
little gun box. Yeah, these I think are on the website, right? Yeah,
They're soon
they
to be
should
up. They're going to be up.
Talk
They're gonna
about
be
my little gun. Good lord. All right, so
And
this
also there's an RM4 in front of you, Bob.
you're a person. All right, so this is the Magpul PTS electric recoil gun ERG RM4 CQB. That is a mouthful as far as acronyms are concerned, but is pretty awesome. I personally have been waiting for the electric recoil gun to come out for some time, and thankfully the Scout version came out earlier. This is pretty awesome. If you guys haven't seen this before, it has a lot of recoil. Maybe we can do a short demonstration.
Cover your ears.
Oh yeah, headphone warning. I don't know why I covered my ears.
Oh, shoot.
Oh yeah. Wait. That's a yeah. Maybe we can see stuff shake. Hold on.
Obviously they can see the cable shake.
Go ahead. A lot of recoil. That's awesome.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's pretty sweet.
Yeah, pretty darn cool.
And it obviously has the cutoff too. If I'm not holding on to the bolt release, indicating I'm out of BBs, boom, I need to reload.
Another cool feature about these magazines that we get one with the gun, and you can buy a more magazine separate, is that you can actually switch these from 30 rounds to 60 rounds. You just basically take the cover off, flip the little switch on the inside. Okay, fine.
So push the button on the bottom, base plate goes forward, then what, this thing comes out the bottom?
Bingo.
Boom. And there's a switch right here. So right now it's in 60 round mode. Flip this over here, it'll stop the follower, put it into 30 round mode, and so if you need that extra realism, pretty sweet. I can't think of any other magazine that does that, man.
Yes, I remember you, Man Jones. Good to see you here again. I said his name on a couple streams a while ago. So, really cool gun, very effective for the features that are in it, and it's basically a really good middle ground between an AEG and gas blowback. You get more, I guess, simulated recoil than you do with most blowback guns, and that's why I'm mostly excited about it. And yeah, really cool gun. I believe it goes on our website for $369.95. And yeah, you definitely get, was that a full metal mag
Full metal
pull,
construction, Magpul furniture,
Yeah.
pistol grip stock, handguard. This sight does not come with it.
rear M-bus sight.
Yeah, the MBUS sight does, but this optic doesn't come
No.
with it. But yeah, all in all, sweet gun.
Can I
Absolutely.
say something?
Sure.
The gun is already set for CQB, which is below 350, so you don't have to worry about that.
Oh.
That is pretty solid, yeah.
AWA, thinking forward.
Very well played.
Outperform.
Indeed. You probably shouldn't put it
EJ
right
Barkhorn, it is not like what you just mentioned.
No, put it somewhere else.
Yellow dark
That's tactical
tee.
products. So
Look at these
the eye
guys,
shield
man.
for the helmet.
Oh, Jesus. Okay. All right. All right, so we also have a variety of new Lancer tactical products, and we're actually playing with one of these earlier. This is the
Throat mic.
This is the throat mic. It has adapters for it. It looks like double pins and single pins. It's got a throat mic. It's got an earbud, which is pretty nice. We definitely want to play test one of these to see how effective it is. We also have some comms gear. I believe this is a push to talk, but I don't know the exact name of this. Actually, Tom, are you aware, or what are these based off of?
I believe that's the Peltor push to talk.
Yeah, very similar to that.
3M.
Yeah, so very cool piece of kit. Definitely looks very legit on your gear. Josh is using actually one of these this weekend. This is another push to talk thing you can connect to your communications gear. Yeah, push to talk button essentially. That was actually very effective at Irene, as we'll attest to later. Another thing we got in, which I'm really excited about, is that we don't have the helmet here, sadly, but we got in a lot of these visors that are basically going to go into one of the new helmets put out by Lancer Tactical. You can just flip the visor down, which is one of probably the things I've been waiting for on the airsoft market for a while. It gets my nerdy side going. So we got different sets of visors for that helmet setup. We got a yellow visor, we got a tinted visor, smoke visor if you would call it that. Basically a variety of different visors for that. I'm looking forward to playtesting those somewhere near in the future, or at least putting them through a stress test. So make sure to head on to our new product section. And what is this?
Condor Summit Zero soft shell jacket.
Wow.
You guys might have seen the uncut video Josh and I did with a couple of Condor soft shell jackets, and if you haven't, you should watch them. Some of the funnier videos we've put out in a while.
That revision video was pretty funny.
The revision videos, I don't have that thing. The audio is not working on that.
Well, you don't need the audio.
For
You
some
just need to
reason.
see the
I
mirror.
know, but it's so much better with the audio.
Yeah.
It's all that's going on behind the review. But yeah, the ones that we did for the soft shell jackets, I think, were equally funny.
All right, well, seems like we got through that stuff. Should we move on?
Let's move on
To our special guest. All right, so
somebody very special in the studio here that is going to be joining us. A special guest appearance from Tom Harris.
up. Tom.
Tominator
Thank
Harris.
you.
From Airsoft Obsessed. Coming over here.
Yeah.
Come over here. Woo! Mark is very excited.
Yes, he is.
Hello, GI TV. I'm gonna cut right down the middle and be the third wheel here.
Absolutely. All right.
I had to bring a gun
Yeah, you specifically said I need to hold a gun
at all times.
at all times.
Turns out I really like guns.
Whoa. What?
It's almost as if you're obsessed.
Yeah, I see what you did there. Well played.
Why do you need to hold a gun, Tom, and why are you holding that specific one?
Why I need to hold a gun? No particular reason, to be honest. Like I said, I just like guns.
Mm-hmm.
This one in particular, I thought it's a Umarex 416 that I believe the GI Custom Shop has tricked out, and I saw this one because actually this Saturday after the Rebel training camp, which I'm kind of maybe thinking maybe I should show up.
Stop
You
by
should.
for that.
Should I show up
You
and
should
learn how to be a rebel?
You should totally show up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I do have a hall pass from my wife, so this might happen.
Okay.
But following the Rebel training camp, there's an event I will be attending at Inside Interactive,
Really?
in Rancho Cucamonga. This is the Operation Dev T6 event, and
Explain about what the event is or our viewers, because you told us about it, and it sounds really cool, but I hadn't heard much about it, so I don't know what the circulation on the media is about it. So maybe you are going to announce to the world what this event is.
maybe, yeah.
Maybe
Basically,
it's supposed to be an underground.
Maybe it's kind of, I don't know
Maybe
what
you're
they're doing.
spilling the beans. I don't know.
But I'm
Well,
I'm
tell
just
us
gonna
anyway.
blow it out there to the mainstream. But basically, the Dev T6 team, they're a group of guys who like to do the Navy SEAL kit impressions.
Yeah.
They put a lot of time and money and effort into their kits, and they look really, really good. They're hosting an event at Inside Interactive CQB facility in Rancho, and basically you don't have to be a kit impressionist, but anyone can show up. But that's sort of the theme of the event, and there's going to be a huge raffle, or there's going to be a raffle and an auction, and the auction proceeds are going to go. All proceeds are going to go to the Navy SEAL Foundation.
Wow.
Wholeheartedly approved.
I'm told that there's a number of vendors. Your friends at Lancer Tactical, I believe, have contributed quite a bit. I think the first 10 people that show up get a Lancer Tactical swag bag.
Wow.
There's a bunch of toy soldiers swag and stuff that's going to be given away. Plus, there's a bunch of high-end, like 6094 and in AAR1, AAR2 vests.
Damn.
They're
Those
going to
things
be
like $1,500.
auctioned off. These are these are the toy soldier versions. So are a little bit
Okay.
less than that.
That
but,
makes more sense, yeah.
But still, definitely a chunk of change. So,
Well, who knows? At the auction, you might walk away with one for a steal.
indeed, and all the proceeds go to charity. So
Perfect.
it's kind of like winning. It's like buy winning, like Charlie Sheen. You're
Winning. Yeah.
So, anyway, that's the scoop there.
What
That's where I'll
actually,
be.
real quick, what are the hours that that event is going on from?
That one I believe starts at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Bob,
Mhm.
and ends at a time I'm not sure of, but I'm guessing 10 or 11 p.m.
Well, that's perfect. I mean, you
Same
can
here.
head out to the Rebel Training Camp. When we were done with that around 4 or 5 o'clock. You head on over to that event at Inside Interactive.
It's
And-
about a 15-minute drive. Too.
Which,
real close.
yeah,
Super quick, super close, easy.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of meant to be, I think.
absolutely.
Meant to be.
Inside Interactive is definitely a very fun field to play at. I mean, Tim and I have played there before. It's definitely close quarters battle, very close quarters battle, but their field setup is pretty awesome. It looks very legit, and they also, from time to time, have Cosmic Airsoft, which is, as you would, I guess, it's similar to Cosmic Bowling. So, that said, look forward to that event this weekend at Insight Interactive, and yeah, we have a couple questions for you in particular, Tom.
Oh, no.
Yes.
I have a couple answers, so just be prepared for them.
All right, first of all, what's your sign?
What's my sign? I'm a Sagittarius.
Oh, excellent.
Yes.
I'm an Aries. I hear Aries and Sagittarius go
Are
well
we
together.
compatible?
Very.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. I always kind of felt that way.
Yeah, me too. And also,
I don't know
you.
anything about it.
I just kind of made that guess. So, also, you recently acquired a Miracle Barrel. Is that correct?
That's a true story.
True story.
Yes.
Have you released the media on that yet?
I have not.
Okay.
I'm kind of a perfectionist about it, and I've done my testing and I've filmed it, but as far as the editing and how I want to present it to make sure that it's as unbiased and clear as possible, that you can see the results.
Well, we've been talking about it a little bit over the phone, and maybe without giving too much away, give us a synopsis or just a little brief snippet of what's going on with the Miracle Barrel in your gun.
Well, I have it's an Elite Force HK417 that I had,
Great choice.
and kind of my special project gun, and so I put the Miracle Barrel into that because I was just running a stock barrel in there to begin with, and I was interested to see what the groupings were going to be. I'd heard the buzz. I kind of, I'd seen a few rumors about the improvements in performance. So I kind of wanted to see for myself, just because I've seen a few upgrade parts on the market in the past that are kind of more fluff and whatever. So I just thought, well, let's go ahead and see if this is a myth or not. So without giving anything away in super detail, let's just say my expectations were exceeded.
Yes.
Very cool.
That is very cool. By sheer happenstance, I haven't purchased a inner barrel in probably a little bit under a decade.
Okay.
And I just bought a Miracle Barrel for Irene, put it in an old Tokyo Marui AK, and I didn't really test the grouping, but I know the left to right deviation was like almost nil. It was impressive as all hell, and I can't wait to use it. I know, and I was a little skeptical because honestly I haven't used a new inner barrel in a long time, and man, it's awesome. Yeah. Anyway, also, what I kind of want to know this: what gear do you regularly use?
So like my vest and my pouches and that sort of thing.
No, I was thinking like underwear, shoes,
Okay.
hat. Yeah, of course your vest. Yeah.
All right, just check it. I'm a boxers guy, in case you need to know that.
I did.
Generally, I wear anything from, I have a 511 Tactec plate carrier that I wear, and I also have some Voodoo tactical plate carriers in other colors. I have a multicam vest and a couple other tan and green vests that I wear, but usually it's going to be a 511 Voodoo vest. As far as uniform goes, same kind of deal. 511 stuff. It's pretty durable, pretty affordable.
Yes.
So I like that, and I don't know. That's about it. It's pretty. I don't get too
Moving
fancy.
away from your gear, let's talk about your airsoft experience a little bit, because you are one of the few people in the country that is on the Elite Force Pro staff team.
Yes.
Explain to us from the outside looking in what that is like. What have you done for Elite Force? What are some of the perks that you have access to that some of us don't? And
Oh man.
I mean,
Yeah, loaded
maybe
question.
not us,
That-
but them.
That's the hot seat, Tim.
Yeah.
I'm in the hot seat now.
No, of course you.
No, definitely.
Before you get sorry to interrupt, Tim. The further you go right, the more out of focus you get.
Come on, Tim.
Yeah, come on. Think.
How many times you been doing this?
Anyway, sorry.
Is it? It's not me, is it? You know, it's moving away from.
Oh, no, I don't know.
I may have quietly
I
farted.
think
No, I
I'm
didn't.
okay.
I didn't fart this time.
Yeah, so Elite Force Pro Staff basically is a bunch of guys that were selected by Elite Force for various reasons. They're kind of looking at various people like myself that were kind of doing media things out in the industry, and so my partner on Airsoft was Dave Bax.
He was at TVB5. Awesome,
Yes,
dude.
if you were there, he was the big guy running around with the camera.
Nice guy.
Took some great photos.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
he did.
He does
Great
phenomenal.
photographer.
It's like he has experience with some sort of professional organization doing that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
action sports photography.
Yeah.
I don't know, something.
Sports.
But, yeah, he and I got asked to join because of our blogging, our photography, and then we've got the American Milsim guys who do the events. If you've ever been to one of those events, it's pretty classy.
Haven't yet.
Pretty classy thing, but it's definitely worth going to. Airsoftology, another sort of blogger.
Jonathan, right?
Higgs,
Yeah,
who's got
yeah.
the podcast as well. I think
Solid
it's what
beard
he's
too.
most-
Yeah.
he is a handsome fellow.
Yeah.
I don't hide it.
Yeah.
And we got Mako TV, and they do, I guess, some news stuff, and so they kind of try to select people that were kind of doing different things within the media world to kind of help get the word out, not only about Elite Force, but about the various other companies that they work with in their network, Blade Tech and Voodoo Tactical, being a few that we work with Code Red headsets as well, and a couple others, but basically to kind of help market to and get the word out to fans about some good quality gear that we all use. And I've always tried to be sure that I'm using something because I want to, and if it happens to be a company that wants to, work with me on that, that's great. But you're not really going to see me using stuff that I don't like personally. So like I have a Blade Tech holster, it's an amazing holster.
Yeah.
And so I guess as far as the perks and advantages, I hope I'm not going to get myself in too much trouble here, but there's certainly a few. Obviously, they help us acquire various pieces of guns and gear and things. So that would be, I think, the main one. And we get they'll share, Elite Force, for example, will share our content that we're doing on our Facebook and our website and stuff. And it's kind of also one of the benefits of the network is that a lot of the guys in the network will reshare our stuff.
Two-way
So
street.
Yeah, it's got to be a two-way street. So that's I think in a nutshell.
Didn't you go to Broken Home or something like that?
On occasion they will help us get to events.
Jeez, Tim, you're really just.
Well, I think this is something really cool. And this may not be
It's very
something.
cool.
This may not be
Very
something
privileged.
that the average airsofter. I mean, maybe they could sometime in the future. Nobody really knows how airsoft is going to evolve, but this could be something they could look forward to eventually reaching that level. I mean, without. I'm not saying Elite Force is going to open up a pro staff team to anybody else. They may not, but other companies may venture down this same path in the future, and opportunities may be available to those out there if they're interested.
What about
if
like
they're
a
serious about
GI
airsoft.
squad?
That could be something. I
know?
mean, we're developing something here within our employees, but we
Yes.
definitely are working with other teams outside of Airsoft GI also. Maybe on not the same scale that Elite Force is, but you never know is all I'm saying in the future. And so, I mean, this is something that I think we've kind of talked about here inside the company is that the turnaround for a lot of airsofters is around 18 months to 24 months. A lot of people, I think we're kind of the anomaly in the fact that we've been playing airsoft for a long time.
Yeah.
And so part of that, I think, is that people don't really know what they can do in airsoft. But you're a prime example of, hey man, you're at some level right now where you've done your time, you've been doing the media thing for a while. The Elite Force has recognized it, and they want to work with you to help grow the game. And so this is something that people can really look forward to potentially if they want to take airsoft that seriously.
Indeed, and also the fact, I mean, you put out pretty regular content, and also really good photos and good content. So, I mean, I can see why it's really beneficial for both parties involved. And
Yeah, for sure.
I was also, a little bit jealous. You guys were a broken home, no big deal. And I actually kind of want
Bob, you went to Irene, so
That's true.
That's true. Don't want to hear that.
Well, were you in a helicopter?
I was.
Okay then. All right then. Okay. All right.
Yeah, the helicopter ride was insane.
Yeah, I'm about this jealous. Now, I actually want to hear your side of this because I think what American Milsim doing is really interesting in that you can sign up for just the regular day of gameplay, or you can actually, I believe it's pay a little bit more for direct action missions or a ride on the helicopter, a gun run. Can you explain it to our audience really quickly?
Yeah, one of the things I really like about the American Milsim guys is the way that they run their events. Is they really put a lot of effort into the experience for the players. It's not just simply pay a bunch of money and play in a cool field, but it's up to you to have a good time while you're playing. The objectives in the regular game are cool, and then they really get wild with these direct action missions. Like you said, I think you pay as a team, and they usually designate between 8 and 12 spots for a team, and it's a little bit extra fee, I guess. When you break it down per person, it's like maybe $70 to $100 a person. So it's
for
a little bit
the direct action
for the
missions?
direct action mission,
Okay.
additional to the regular fee. So yeah,
Okay.
you're going to spend some money, but the experience is rare, I would say. The helicopter missions at Broken Home, which were not really dam missions, they're just sort of anyone could sign up. You can go by yourself. It's like $75, and you got to go up in a helicopter and rain down BBs.
When are you ever going to get to do that?
Yeah, and the guys on the floor can't, on the ground can't shoot back at you. So it's all it's all you. So going up there, I took photos mostly, but I went up with the Polar Star guys, and they were just it got nuts. So there's that. Last weekend, I'm told at Ballahack they did a Navy SEAL themed mission, blue gray,
Yeah.
And they were using like a Zodiac boat.
I saw those photos.
Yeah, they looked pretty awesome. Spartan G7 117GW. What up, Greg Wong? I see you on there. There he is.
Yeah.
He took some photos of that, so you
American
can check out his page and American.
Yeah.
So yeah, very unique experience, I would say. If you're into the Milsim thing and you really want to get the most bang for your buck, I really would
suggest an AMS
event.
I got two things to say about that. First, after talking with Jet about being in a helicopter, I was shocked, absolutely shocked and puzzled at the fact that the rotor wash doesn't really affect the BB's flight path.
Right, and that was a big question, and kind of a lot of people had, is that it really doesn't. I don't understand the physics of why it doesn't. Everyone that, just sheer logic would say, yeah, you're going to have a problem, but it wasn't. I was watching, I myself was able to hit guys. I was watching the other guys in the helicopter hitting guys, and I was hit from being on the ground. I got lit up quite a bit, actually. Not happy about that, but
Wow.
yeah, I got lit up a few times from the ground, so I know that people are getting hit because I was one of them.
Okay. The second part of that is I actually want to regale our audience with a short story about when Tim actually called out one of the American Milsim guys on not being Milsim enough. Tim?
Okay, Bo.
Bo Silva.
Big Silva.
Big Silva, that's it.
Big Silva was at TV before. He and Andy from Elite Force were on the Timpire for the first game.
Unfortunately.
And Ballahack has a lot of swamps, as you guys saw from the videos. And I think Big Silva was wearing a brand new set of Cryptek pants,
yes.
and he just had a lot of nice, pretty gear on.
Yeah, he's Gucci.
Airsoft Gucci, right? You're wearing Gucci glasses. It's very nice.
Yikes.
But there was a point in time in the game where I needed to send reinforcements a certain way, and they needed to go through the swamp to get there. And one of the guys that was going was the GMR group, and found as many people in the near area to go, and one of them, or two of them, was Big Silva and Andy. And they were kind of like, oh, I'm not sure I really want to get into the swamp right now. I'm having a good time over here. And I'm just like, come on, American Mill Sim. Like, are you afraid to get wet, really? And he was like, all right, I'll do it. And he pulled me aside afterward. He was like, man, I'm really glad you made me get in the swamp because they were able to flank around. They got behind enemy lines. They got into some great firefights. He said he had a great time. It wouldn't have happened if he hadn't have done that. And he also mentioned that he would not have done that at all if I didn't say exactly what I said. He was like, you could have called me a little girl. You could have called me a pansy. None of that would have worked. But since you called me out on American Mill Sim, I did it. And I'm so glad that I followed orders and I had a great time doing it. So, I mean, a shout out to Big Silva. I mean, he was a great player.
Really cool guy.
I'm glad he had a good time at the game. That's really the most important thing to me.
He's a Southern gentleman.
Indubitably.
He's ridiculous, but he's a Southern gentleman.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
Well, in the same vein, we're kind of at the halfway point of our show here. I wanted to bring in Bob, who's already here, Daniel, who's been patiently waiting behind the camera, Josh, and Ross to kind of give us an AAR of Operation Irene, an after-action report, because you guys just got back yesterday. The game was this past weekend. I've been hearing stories throughout the office that just sound like a great time, and I really think that our audience would love to hear those things as well. So, I mean, while Daniel's getting some of the other guys, why don't you just regale us with some of your memories?
Okay, well, right off the bat, the first game we played, I mean, I shot a lot of BBs, but I really have no idea if I actually even killed anybody. But most of my movement...
the whole weekend without killing anybody?
No, just the first actual... Oh, come on, that's absurd. No, just the first game. Like, I couldn't confirm that I actually shot anyone. I think I did. But most of what I was doing was just finding a spot for Josh to set up because his Polar Star DMR had unheard of, well, maybe not unheard of ranges, but had such an absurd amount of range that as a platoon asset, we were just like wrecking fools fourth platoon. I say we, as in really Josh. So,
I was just
following orders.
But before we get too much further, actually, right when we started the game, we're all deciding on a call sign, and our LT was like, all right, what do you guys want the call sign to be? And before anyone could come up with something better, I think Josh was like, one sexy, because we're snipers and we're sexy.
We were 1-6, and I was like, I don't know, one sexy just sounds pretty good to me. And he's like, all right, you guys can be called one sexy. And I was like, so for the rest of the event, we were one sexy.
Yeah, it's like one sexy, this is 1-6. We're like, this is one sexy.
That was a good call sign. It worked out pretty well.
Is it? Yeah, actually, why don't we start with probably what you can see on the camera, which is this guy.
Oh yeah, that was out.
Yes. So.
No, this was awesome. It was a really funny story because I got the jump on 4 TFR guys, and I was on one side of the wall, and they were literally probably like a foot or two away. And there's a wall, and there's a hole that I saw them, running for cover. And so I knew they were there, and I was just like, screw it, I'm just going to go for it. So I jumped through this hole, and I go bang, bang to the two guys on the left, and then I'm on my back at this point because I literally dove through this hole. And I turn, and then look at the other two guys on the right, and I go bang, 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 bang. At that point, they're like, oh my God, there's a guy get there. And the guy that was closest to, he just completely panicked and just started shooting at me to point like this close, literally this close. Yeah, exactly. And that was the result of that. And like he knew it, and he got over. He's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I was like, it's okay, it's okay. It's okay. It was hilarious. It was great. It was a good time.
Well, why don't we move on to Ross? Ross, do you have any? I know you have. Where did your mustache go? I just noticed this. He had a mustache the whole weekend. That was excellent. What happened?
It was an Irene mustache.
My mustache was my attempt to be a man at the man's event. So that was my. It's actually really funny because my full face mask went down after the first game, and I was really bummed because I was kind of worried about my teeth. But then I decided to let the mustache out and not get shot in the face for the rest of the day because I feel like the mustache allowed the power and the bravery that was there deflected BBs from hitting I got shot in the face. I actually got shot in the forehead a lot. But nothing came close to my teeth, so I was very, very glad.
Well, that's good.
A mustache force field.
Yeah,
right?
That's really, that was my
It's basically a superpower at this point.
Yeah.
So.
That was my
That's
hope.
what it sounds like.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of a catchy name for that, but nothing's coming up. Fine. All right, well, Josh, I kind of mentioned a little bit about your Polar Star DMR. Why don't you give us some memorable kills?
Well, just to be clear, Polar Star DMRs are not allowed at John Doe operations. Polar Star snipers.
Oh,
are
my apologies.
So
My apologies.
we should have clarified that because DMRs are not allowed at the Line Class Series games.
Well,
but
tell
I did.
people the difference though, because people
Okay,
aren't gonna
so
know.
the difference between a DMR and a sniper rifle, John Luke basically doesn't allow DMRs because they chrono a little hotter and they can shoot full auto basically, and they're just like not. They just don't make a lot of sense for the games that he's trying to run. I think in his mind. So I ended up just running it as a sniper rifle, which was fine with me because I get to up my FPS a little bit and run some heavier weight BBs. I
Okay,
think
so the sniper rules for all Lion Claws games, I think, are like this, where you can shoot up to 500, some
500,
550.
they're different for every AO.
Okay, they're
different
different
AOs
for
have different.
But
FPS
snipers, they
ratings.
can shoot a higher FPS, but they have to be limited to semi only.
That is correct. Yeah. So if
Or
you
bolt
are,
action?
Or bolt
Yes.
action.
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
right. So I opted to go with semi only because obviously follow up shots are a lot easier if you don't have to rack bolt.
Mhm.
So we went with the G&G SR25 body and then dropped the Polar Star unit into it because it is a version 2 gearbox. And we organ barreled it with the R-Hop, and I'll just say this. That gun was shooting at 3 joules flat. I could have gone to 3.2, which is the actual limit for the field, but I just kept it at 3 joules, shooting a 4.0 BB. So the range was just utterly insane. Like there was times where I was up in some of the towers that are at the event, just raining down death upon multiple people. Like, I mean, it was so bad at times. I honestly felt like it was such an outmatching of firepower that it really could have been like it was really replicated the sniper scenario.
That's
where-
what it's supposed to do.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. You know,
yeah.
you have so much range, so much more firepower, so to speak, than most of the guys that were trying to shoot at me. And I think a lot of people were not expecting the range difference. They were just there's one particular time where this guy was up on top of a really high wall, and we could see each other. We were all kind of like grouped up behind this car trying to advance forward, and he could see us, I could see them, and he was kind of just like, "Hey guys, I see you over there," and I was like, "I see you too." I was like, "I'll just try to pop some shots off at him." So I fired 3 shots, and it was just weird because it was a really lull in like the entire combat field. Like everybody was running around throwing thunder bees and yelling like, "Well, move over here!" And it just got really quiet, and I was just like, "Top, top, top!" And I shot the shots and just floated, and all of a sudden, hit! He yells hit on top of the field, and all the guys around me are like, "You just hit that guy? Are you kidding me? That was amazing!" Like giving me high fives and stuff like that. But it was just kind of funny because he thought he was clearly out of range. Like, "Oh, I'm gonna wave at you guys. You can't do anything." And I was like, "Nope, I can." And then shot him. So it was just
One of
really
my-
fun event.
One of my favorite things about this operation was the way that our squad worked together, because there were certain times that we'd be moving up on buildings, and there's a soccer field in the middle. TFR had like the region, and there's a big what was the building called? The gray one.
It was Building 31. I
The
don't
Building
remember the name of it.
31. there was-
CNN building?
No,
No, no,
there's
no,
the
It's
one.
farther way out
Oh,
there.
okay.
So
right.
Building 31 had a couple guys, and I was up against a big like metal. I was shooting up through this metal fence, and I gotten one guy in the window, but then I couldn't get the next guy because he was kind of at an odd angle. So I radioed back to Josh. He was probably like 30 yards behind me. I was like, "Hey Josh, second window from the left, third story." He's like, "Okay, 1 sec." Okay, he's down.
Well,
Moving up.
I just want to highlight that moment because that was actually probably, and I mentioned to these guys, one of my favorite moments about this game is that, like, for me, Irene is like the Super Bowl of Airsoft. That's something that we've been saying is like, I've been dreaming to go to an event like this, like so well coordinated in the communication. So my part in the story I wasn't a part of it at all. I was dead and I was walking back from Regen and I had my radio on, and for me the radio communication between not only just us 4 as a squad but the whole team was just stellar. It was great. And so I'm walking back from Regen, and so Ross is calling, "Oh, this guy over there," and then Josh is like, "Oh, okay, give me a second." It's just like, "Yeah, he's not gonna be a problem anymore." Just done. It was just so badass just hearing that communication, and it was like, oh my gosh, I wish it was there. It was
we were
great.
we were one of the few. I know a lot of people had radios, but in our company in particular, we were one of the few platoons that actually used radio communication within the 4 of us.
Yeah.
A lot of people were asking like bigger, like, okay, who's here? But in terms of the 4 of us, like working as a squad, it was really nice because we could move across streets a lot easier. Josh was giving us eyes all the way across the
Yeah,
field.
yeah, that was great.
Yeah, there was a couple parts where there was a fire building inside one of the main areas, like where there's a big marketplace, and I was kind of overlooking probably about 5 to 10 buildings. Really, like that's how many vantage points I had at the top of this building. And Daniel and Ross decided to go on the ground and kind of move on foot, and I was like, "That's totally fine. Our objective here is to overwatch and control this building, so we're going to do our job. I'll give you guys eyes on the sky." And they moved around, and I just was looking through the scope, just like, okay, you got 2 guys in the building above you, you got guys over here, and they were able to move up, coordinate with the other team, and just kind of just take down people. Well, guys, what's so funny?
Do you want to tell them?
There's comments. We're reading the comments, and one of them said, "Bob, if you can see this, pat your face." So I saw that, and then I saw him pat his face. I knew that he was also looking at that.
Secret messages.
So it's no longer secret. but,
People were complaining we weren't watching the comments. I'm
Yeah.
watching it and I saw that.
Also, I'm not going to use swearing, but how dare you accuse me of being Moby? I see you. I'll give you Chester from Lincoln Park, but Moby, really?
Moby's the man. He had the soundtrack on board.
I guess it could be worse. There could be worse comparisons.
Yes, that's
But
true.
My name's Tom. Okay, I'm a human being. Going back to the comments on the radio and the comms, I think that's one of the most underrated pieces of gear in one's airsoft kit,
sure.
and that's one thing I learned firsthand from being on a team. I play on a team from Fresno, level 10. Shout out
Fresno.
Fresno.
Nice.
Yep, that's where Dave lives.
Oh, wow.
So
Cool.
I'm born and raised in Fresno and moved down here. So yeah. Anyway, but comms, you mentioned how effective it was, and I just wanted to point out that if you're watching out there and
Rival
you're kind of
cities.
wondering about the next piece of gear that you need and you don't have comms already, I would highly recommend a nice little set of comms.
Yeah,
You can get a pretty affordable one.
You know what would have just been so amazing are the noise canceling ones.
Oh, yeah.
The NSA sword.
Because to be able to, because especially at Irene, there are explosions, there are
Fire. There's fire.
There's
That's
fire.
something we haven't even
there's
started talking about yet.
RPGs are
There's
flying.
people-
Actors, civilians,
There's
and
tanks,
tanks.
there's
Oh my God.
dogs,
cars running around
goats.
with propane guns. So you're constantly, and especially as soon as you're moving in and you're trying to hear around the corner, but all you're hearing is just the explosions in the background. So to have that in addition to your comms, that would have been game over.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
and to definitely touch on something that Tom was pointing out is, there's a lot of people who have a lot of different play styles, and I'm not a CQB player by any means. I really don't enjoy CQB. That's not my play style at all. I much more prefer to play the sniper role and kind of communicate to my team and tell them what's going on. And comms is a vital asset to that. Like, I can't do my job as a sniper if I can't tell my team what's going on the ground in front of them. And if any of you guys out there who like to play sniper roles or like to be behind the scope and kind of scouting for your team, like, comms is a really big essential part of that kit that I honestly, I would not have gone to that event if I didn't have comms. Like, there was no way. Like, just to be able to radio and let people know, hey, there's 2 guys around the corner. I can't get it from here. They're right there, and they can just turn the corner and boom, get them. It's definitely a big asset to the team.
Definitely force multiplier.
I think Bob, you even had a little bit of tactical advantage over Daniel and I, because Daniel and I just ran our comms right here on like the chest rig.
Mhm.
But if you had like a headset,
Yeah,
or
just
the
throat mics. I want to get some of those Lancing
throat
throat mics
mics,
to be honest.
or just something that doesn't allow the squawk of the radio to be broadcast to everyone around you. Because Daniel and I would turn them off sometimes.
Oh yeah,
And-
dude, we're
and,
just
uh,
super close.
And
Like
Anaconda.
yeah.
as soon as
That
we
was
moved
frustrating.
Yeah.
And you guys would turn it off, and literally no one was on comms. Like, anybody?
Hello?
Yeah, definitely.
Oh,
But I
man.
think just like the sound effects too. I mean, going with the comms and going off that is like Zussman had a full-on like surround sound speaker system where they'd be like, hell,
Now, I want to reiterate this. When he made surround sound, it's like, okay, yeah, you hear things going on around you. No, like, it was a positional awareness of
It was
where the sound was coming
coordinated,
from.
so it sounded like there's, you're here and there's like buildings all around you and stuff like that, but there's speakers all around. So the helicopter sound here is louder and then quieter, and then it rotates, so it sounds like there's a helicopter going around.
So many
you.
times during the day, I was just like, I would look up, like, why am I keeping looking up?
yeah,
I know there's no
yeah.
helicopter, but it sounds like there's one flying right past you. Like,
And then just explosion. Oh, and they started playing like the Black Hawk Down soundtrack,
Yes.
and then they were just like
And
it was
civilians.
really
It's so intense.
And the worst thing was you'd be moving through the building, especially like by the World Bank and the ZFR building, and you'd have speakers right there.
Yeah.
So you'd be trying to communicate with somebody across the street, and all you were hearing was the gunshots going off.
Yeah, and you have to yell.
You were yelling.
It was an experience. It was insane. I
also
mean,
the element of
actors-
smoke. There was a lot of smoke.
fire
like,
explosions.
Like, you guys are like, oh, you throw a smoke grenade. No, like, they have smoke machines built into the walls of buildings, and they're just
Yeah.
spewing smoke out on the
Tell
battlefield.
that
Like,
story about how you and Josh were just chilling out in the night game, just for the experience.
Okay. So yeah, Josh and I we finally moved into the American Embassy, and we'd gone from the second floor to the first floor because the second floor was all lit up, had lights on, so everyone could see us. Went to the first floor with no lights, and Josh and I were hanging out there. He was trying to snipe, couldn't see much. So I was trying to light up some of the buildings. And eventually, we realized we were kind of the only ones holding the American embassy.
It was just us for the longest
So
time. Yeah.
I just brought my AK up on my leg, and he was just kind of had his gun on the table, and we were like, man, we're just gonna enjoy the view because the fire was so big, it lit up this entire building on the other side of
the
it.
whole marketplace was completely lit up. Like there was smoke all in the air, and there was fire. And
Yeah.
It was like, you could see the glow of the fire coming through, and then you would see like a green laser occasionally, like ooh, shining through, and it was just
The flashlights too.
Yeah,
the
the
flashlights.
flashlights.
There was some guy with like I think you and I were talking about this, Bob. He had I don't know what he brought, but it was like those big old spotlights.
They called it the sun.
the sun.
Yeah.
It was beaming up entire building.
We ran across. We actually, when we were getting into the American Embassy, we ran across the courtyard, and then the sun lit us up. We were like, "Oh my god!" It just kept running even faster, or at least as fast as we could. There's actually one time in particular where I had the G&G tracer unit, the rechargeable tracer unit, and I was trying to get you on the radio. I was like, "Ross, where are you?" And I was like, "You see my tracers?" I'm like, and you were a guest on the other side of the window. You're like, "Yeah, guys, I'm right here."
I will say this. I thought, this is mine, I have a T. I thought I could be sneaky in the night game. Like, oh, yeah, I'll use the cover of darkness and like, come in and kill some fools. So I'd sneak around the corner, like go in the shadow.
Without a flashlight.
Somebody would get a flashlight on me, shoot me, and so flashlights are your friend.
Yeah, definitely in CQB. And there was an incident during the night game where a player, I believe, without a flashlight was moving around and ended up falling down one of the shafts at Irene. Thankfully, though, he didn't hurt himself too badly and ended up playing the next day. But it definitely ended the night game a little bit earlier than originally planned. So yeah, flashlights and situational awareness are definitely a must, especially for an environment that's not necessarily sterile. So
Yeah, and I mean, even during the daytime, most of the stairwells are so far inside the buildings, there's no light hitting them, so it is going into almost pure darkness in the stairwell areas, so it can be a little disorientating at times, trying to figure out where you're stepping.
Did someone fall down in an elevator shaft?
Not this time, thankfully. So, but they did have pads at the bottom of the elevator.
wait.
shafts,
No, someone did fall down.
Not an
So-
elevator
Was it a
shaft.
hole?
It was to the
Oh, it was a tunnel. Oh,
It's
okay.
not
Come on,
10-foot
Bob.
culvert, so-
Well, it was a shaft, so I assumed the shaft that we saw.
Yeah,
That
because
sounds
I saw
bad.
the room,
Yeah.
and you walk in, you probably got like 30 feet, and you're
Yes.
like 20 feet, and you're completely fine. But if you're not paying attention because it's so dark, you could easily fall in.
Oh,
Yeah, I made a note a couple of times I was up in the higher towers where I had basically sling my rifle on my back and climb up like 4 or 5 different rungs of ladders. And I eventually got to the top of this tower, and I was like, I'm going to be probably shooting a lot up here. I should probably, in my best safety, put something near the stairwell so I don't trip into it. So I took a chair and set it right next to the edge. So I knew if I hit the chair, that was my cutoff point, so I couldn't walk any farther. But I could easily see how somebody trying to engage, step left, boom, you're just down into a hole, and little you're all busted up.
That's one of the cool things that I remember about Irene is that a lot of times you don't get to play in a very dynamic environment where you have elevation changes. Most airsoft fields are on the same level. If you're lucky, you have second levels to go into. But that's one thing that I remember taking advantage of a lot in Irene is any ladder I could find where I could get above people. I tried to do that, and having a sling handy was really
Another thing too, like about Irene, that's really different than a lot of fields is they have furniture. Every building is almost fully furnished. So you're going to a building, you're like, oh shit, they're shooting through the window. Prop a friggin' table up on it, get it behind it. You know what I mean?
The last game, you guys were on the 3rd floor. Daniel and I were on the 2nd. And there's 5 windows in one building. And Daniel and I took these huge metal desks you can see in like corporate America,
Tables,
put them up on the wall so we have slits to shoot through. We ended up holding the building the entire time, even after they rushed us.
That was probably one of my favorite moments because we were holding this building and we were just like, we're just going to support Josh. And we don't have too many guys in that building. We had another squad, but like,
6 of us, right?
yeah, and across the
6
street,
huge building though.
yeah. Across the street was like most of the TFR, like most of the force. So like I was afraid that if they rush us, like we were not going to hold off. So we made defenses and like we threw chairs down the stairway. So if they were like trying to get up, they'd have to like crawl over.
There was space for like one ranger to get through at max.
And we just tore the fences. It was awesome.
I didn't see it until I was on my way out. I was like, damn, that was pretty smart.
We were laughing the whole way out of the building.
One of the other guys from the squad, it wasn't one of us, but he had like this booby trap. He put like metal sheets on this door. It would have been the back door that would have gotten us. And so as soon as the door opens, bam, they crash. And so just turn around, we know they're coming. Like super smart. So that's cool.
I got to mention that engagement at the firehouse was interesting for me in that was probably the most ultimate chair softing experience I've ever had because
Literally.
Josh and I were set up in a room and we were doing like what Daniel and Ross were doing, which is putting up cover next to the windows, and we leave slits here and there, but Josh and I each got a chair with wheels. So basically, we would just wheel to each slit, and just keep engaging. So it was probably the coolest chair stopping I've ever experienced. So.
Actual chair.
Actual chair
Yeah,
stopping.
like I remember specifically that I propped up a metal desk and it had 2 drawers, and I pulled the bottom drawer out, pulled it back from the window so my barrel wasn't sticking out, and set my AFG on there, and I was just sitting in a chair like this for the longest time, like just shooting across at all these guys in the other window. So it was like I felt like a sniper in a film. Like, they pull the chair back really far against the window so they can shoot out of it, and it was just kind of a really epic experience, to be honest. Like you don't get to do that often, so it was definitely.
So it sounds like you guys were actually able to stay together as a unit. For
We did
most of the
really well. I
weekend.
feel like.
Yeah, the last game in particular was really good because our squad, like it was us and then 1-4, just hooked it all the way around, accomplished our objective, and it was cool because we were all moving
You just
together.
kind of walk
Wait,
over
we're talking
there.
about the bridge. Yeah, we blew up a bridge.
And actually, and like Irene is such that the pyrotechnics, the bridge actually tilted and lit on fire.
No, it exploded
Awesome.
while tilting, and then I was like, oh man, that was a pretty big explosion. Then 5 jets of flame, I was like, that is bigger.
Well, I remember that too because I was talking to Ross. We were trying to assault the building on the other side, and there was kind of like a tunnel, not a tunnel, but like a canal system, like underneath the bridge, naturally. And so we were like, okay, we can use that as cover. Let's go underneath the bridge. So like, I'm ready to go underneath. Like, let's not go underneath the bridge. It's on fire now.
There are about 5 guys on the other side where the flames are coming out. I remember when that happened, there was one guy's like, oh, get away from here. And yeah, it looked a little bit hairy, but pretty awesome overall. I mean, I know we all had an amazing experience, and I'm really happy, not to throw you under the bus, that we found your wallet. Right?
Yeah, I did lose my wallet like the first day I got there. Like within 20 minutes of riding the AO, gone. I was just like, oh my god.
How are we gonna
my
fly
ID to
home?
get on the plane, obviously. So at the very end of the event, I was talking to John. I was like, hey man, if you find it, just have somebody send it back. And one of his like chief of staff,
Jeff.
just stands over. He's like, missing a wallet, bro? And I was just like, I am. And he was like, what's it look like? And we started going to the details. He's like, I got it right here. And I was just like, yes.
We were celebrating behind the raffle. I don't know who's raffling off. We're like, yeah.
Because we literally were searching everywhere, like flashlights on the ground,
Yeah.
like the whole campground, just trying to find it. So it ended up working out, but it was kind of one of those funny situations.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, but will say this: we accomplished almost every single mission we set out to do for our group, except for one. Jet, if you're watching this, we will find you eventually.
We will.
Funny
will.
story. So Daniel and I hooked all the way around. We're camped up in this building, and we could see the TFR spawn kind of like probably like 250 yards away. And the TFR were kind of walking across, and Daniel and I were like, all right, just keep looking for Jet. And we kept like looking for him. And then turns out I was talking to Jet after the event. He's like, oh yeah, I saw you guys in the ACOG. And I was like, Jet, you should have yelled at us. And we just were like, call you out. But unfortunately, it just never happened.
Wait, was it an official objective or is it something?
We
you
No,
guys-
this was our objective.
That was
Canada.
We wanted to find Jet.
Yeah, our objective was to just find Jet and just demolish him at some point because he was on
Yeah.
the team. So I was just like, if anybody sees Jet, tell me. I will just run as fast as I can with the sniper rifle to get over there to make sure that he does not complete his objective. So-
I was supposed to melee duel him if I found him. I was carrying actually 2 knives in case I saw him, so I could just slide one across and then out of town.
Speaking of special privileges, since you called me out, do you get special privileges to bring your axe onto a milsim game, or do they outlaw your axe?
They don't actually outlaw it. I have actually elected not to bring it out of respect for the folks that are going to be there, like Colonel McKnight, Mad Max Mullen. I don't want to take Dale. Oh, absolutely, Dale Sizemore, which was a new addition to their team. If you actually recall from seeing Black Hawk Down, which I found out last night, my dad has never seen the movie. What? So I was trying to explain to him. He's like, Colonel McKnight, I don't. But Dale Sizemore, or Sergeant Dale Sizemore, or just Dale. He was actually the ranger in the movie who, when they come back from one of the engagements, he has the cast on. He's like, I'm going out with you guys. They're like, not with that cast on. He pulls out a bayonet and is about to cut it off, and they're like, just get in the car. And so it was really amazing to see him at the operation, and he had actually just started playing Airsoft, and he was all in. He played one game before that, and then went to Irene. And he could not believe how much fun it was, and I'm looking forward specifically
he was
to
really gung-ho. He was having a great time. He was trudging through the woods. His arms were all cut up. He was just like, yeah, let's do this. Like, he was just having a great
He was
time.
also one of the most personable guys.
Yep.
Like he came up and talked to us afterwards, and just he was really nice. Like everybody there was super cool and super just like. I mean, it's funny because you go from like shooting each other just like I'm gonna kill you two. Hey man, what's going on?
There was a lot of good sportsmanship I felt on both sides. That I was just out there. I'd shoot somebody or somebody would shoot me. Like, oh man, that was a great shot. Good job. Just like it was really fun.
Absolutely. I feel kind of bad actually right now because Tom, you've never been to Irene.
Oh, rub that in.
Yeah, I am. I'm totally rubbing that in. Yeah.
Bring that up.
But you have shot out of a helicopter. I kind of want to know, since we're getting to the end of this live show, like what events that are coming up, well, I guess, it's the end of the year almost, but next year, what events are you looking forward to specifically?
Well, I'd like to try and make it out to the American Milsim event. Was at Faded Giant
Yes.
in November. That's coming up. I always look forward to Lion Claws, kind of a staple out here. And eventually, I'd like to get to Irene. Hopefully next year, for sure. It sounds like you guys had a good time, and certainly been one of those places I've always wanted to go to. So.
Absolutely.
Did you tell your 9-banger story?
I was actually I was thinking about leaving that out maybe. I don't know.
I don't know. It's a pretty epic story. I mean,
It sounded good to me.
All right,
You
fine.
told me.
Okay. All right. So there, I always loved the night game at Irene, and I was really excited to play. And also, they weren't kidding about how much smoke there's in the field. There was so much smoke coming out of this one building. I believe it was the World Bank, that I couldn't see from me to Tim. I was like, oh Jesus, I can't. If I turn on my light, I'm going to blind myself. And out of nowhere, I hear just a voice like, hey guy, hey, come here, guy, come here. And I was like, yeah, and I brought my rifle because I don't know if this is a ranger or someone else. And it ended up being a guy wearing local stuff and a pancake hat, I think. So he was obviously just one of the staff organizers. But he's like, yeah, I got this thing and I'm going to throw it in. All the guys are in the corners. You should go into the World Bank or this building. And I was like, okay, what is that? He's like, oh, this is a 9-banger. I was like, really? And in my mind, I was like, does that have like 9mm blank in there that goes off? Because that's kind of loud. People in there probably aren't going to be that happy. And I was like, is that an airsoft version? He's like, no, this is a real 9-banger. And there's a second or two of silence and an awkward silence. And he's like, oh, no, I work here. And another second or two of silence. And he's like, it'll be fine. And I was like, all right, man, let's do it. And he throws it in, and it goes bang. And then it's a real 9-banger, which is essentially like a more modern version of a flashbang. And I wouldn't have expected to get flashbang at an op like this, but he tossed it in there, and it essentially explodes to a loud bang, and separates into about 8 or 9 different charges that go off in different parts of the room. Essentially, it's probably 9. Yeah, well, I'm not sure if the first bang counts as one of the 9. That's why. So they all separate in the corners, essentially where all the people were hiding, so they're exploding around them. It's like bang, 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 and I went in on probably the 7th bang, so it's still strobing, and right from the first explosion, I heard people going, what the hell? Oh my God! Like they were flipping their crap, and understandably so. I might have pissed my pants if I was in their position. But I went in, and I ended up getting shot because there were actually about 4 or 5 people in there, and the people in there were not exactly happy, but I was just floored. I was like, wow! Every year I see something new. I ran to Jet afterwards, like, Jet, do you know what a 9-banger is? He's like, no, is that like a new flashbang? He's like, yeah, it is. Let me tell you. I was just floored.
Bob radios. He's walking back to respawn, and I was like, hey, I'm walking back from respawn. Anybody out there? I was like, yeah, I'm coming back to respawn. I have a story. Like, what about the enemy? I don't care.
I gotta tell you something, because you could hear it through the op. I even told Jet, I was like, yeah, this happened. He's like, that's the 9 explosions I heard? He's like, yeah, man, I was right next to that. He's like, damn. So overall, a shocking op. I mean, I had explosions going off like literally from me to Tim, and I actually one explosion, I was running out of the American MC, exploded right in front of me. I was like, Jesus Christ! And then they threw a smoke grenade at me. Technical shit. Basically, the whole op for all of us was just absolutely stunning and fun. I feel bad describing it in the presence of Tominator here because I feel bad. But
He's been to other cool
he's
games.
been in a helicopter. I never have, so he's got that on us. But honestly, we're getting to the end of our show. I'm really excited. We got to have Tominator Harris. Should have put the quotation marks there earlier, but
Thanks for having me.
didn't mean to go that route. Very fun guy to play airsoft with, and if you haven't checked out the website Airsoft Obsessed. You can check it out on Facebook, and you also have a website as well.
AirsoftObsessed.com.
Makes a lot of sense.
Clever title.
Yeah, very clever title. Make sure to check that out. Give his Facebook page a like, and definitely looking forward to playing airsoft with you. You're a really fun gentleman to play with, airsoft with. Tim, finish the show off.
Get over my body.
It's tough.
Get over it.
Thanks for joining us for this live show. You can catch us next Tuesday at 4:30. Thank you again, Tom. Thanks, guys, for giving us your breakdown of Operation Irene.
Thanks, Tim from GI.
Bye-bye now. Bye-bye.
Bye.